Hey guys, how's it going? Jared Bronstein here, and welcome to LBQ. If this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe, click that bell to never miss a video, and stick around until the very end for some replies to previous comments. Also, be sure to drop us a comment below with a question you'd like answered, as we do see all of your comments and take them into consideration. Now today we'll be talking about the Chimera. For those of you who are thinking, what the hell did he just say? What's a Chimera and how do I get one? Well, I don't know if you'd want one, but let me first explain what a Chimera is. According to Greek mythology, the Chimera is a fire-breathing female monster with the head and front body of a lion, the middle of its body is made of a goat, including a second head, and its back is that of a serpent with a third head included. Some versions of the Chimera also include wings of a dragon, although it seems the original in Greek mythology does not. The Chimera was known to be a horrifying, nasty beast with a thirst for destruction. With a terrible temper and no sympathy for anyone but itself, the myth claims the Chimera would destroy villages, slaughtering innocent people, destroying their homes, and killing cattle. It was believed to be almost invincible with the strength of a lion, the smarts of a goat, and the venom of a snake. The goat's head could also breathe fire, which would be seen as quite a difficult factor to get around when trying to kill the Chimera. Many claim the Chimera to be an omen of sorts, appearing before natural disasters such as volcano eruptions. It's believed the Chimera was the offspring of Typhon and Echidna. Typhon was a giant monster that was known to be the most dangerous creature in all of Greece. He decided to mate with the next most dangerous creature in Greece, the half-woman, half-serpent named Echidna. Together they would spawn the likes of the Lion Hydra, the Sphinx, the Nemean Lion, Cerberus, and the Chimera. Although many perished to the Chimera, it seemed only one hero was strong enough to defeat it, a man named Bellerophon. With the help of Pegasus, his half-brother Bellerophon, who was the son of Poseidon, and a beautiful mortal woman, they took down the Chimera. The story is Bellerophon threw his lead spears into the Chimera, and one caught the throat of the beast. When it blew fire, it melted the lead, blocking its airwave and ultimately killing it. So what would life be like if this horrifying creature lived today? Let's find out. Assuming the Greek mythology would have the Chimera living there, it seems those living in Greece would be the most at risk. As previously mentioned, the Chimera was an omen of sorts and would attack usually before volcanoes were to erupt. Although most of Greece's volcanoes are no longer active, there are some on the islands of Santorini, Nisyros, Methana, and Milos that attract visitors annually. With that in mind, I think it's safe to say more specifically the Chimera would live on one of those islands with active volcanoes. But it's believed in ancient times the Chimera lived in the state of Lycia. Today's southwest Turkey is where Lycia would have been, meaning the Chimera would either live on one of the Greek islands previously mentioned or around the Turkish towns of Demre, Kos, among a few others. Now of course we have technologies and the ability to do things they couldn't do during the time that the Chimera reigned. However, it doesn't necessarily mean we'd have an easier time killing it. Under the impression that the Chimera lived in one of these small towns or islands in Turkey or Greece, those who live there would certainly be at risk. Tourism of these countries would also be affected in general because of the association with the beast that lives there. Any farmers or those with livestock or cattle would also have trouble making a living because the Chimera would certainly destroy all of it. And the unfortunate reality is, especially given recent events in Turkey along the Syrian border, the government may have their hands full. To simply shoot down the Chimera with a few bullets would certainly not do the trick. You'd need some sort of military operation to destroy the beast. However, given the state that the world is currently in with many different countries wanting to obtain the most powerful army, and with the natural curiosity of humans, we'd either want to turn this three-headed lion, goat, and serpent beast into a weapon, or we'd want to study and learn from it. Due to this, simply shooting it down wouldn't be an option. However, if it were attacking and killing innocent civilians, destroying their homes, and taking their farmland and cattle, well, something would certainly have to be done. The issue here would be if the Turkish government would be willing to take their focus and attention away from the Turkish-Syrian border and focus on taking down this beast. Given the damage that the Chimera could possibly bring upon not only the small Turkish towns, but really wherever it decided to rain terror, I think the decision would be just a matter of time. Maybe at first the Turkish government would ignore the small towns being affected, but once enough people were killed, or another country such as the US or Russia heard of this beast, Turkey may want to get their hands on it first. This could cause even more problems among many countries, or it could possibly bring them closer together if Turkey needed help taking down the Chimera. Possible new alliances or deals could be made to aid the Turkish military to take down the Chimera, but what would be the right way to kill the Chimera? Or at least subdue it. If it breathes fire, I don't think burning it would be an option. There is the idea that maybe you could blow it up, but if it has the wits of a goat and the strength of a lion, it may be harder to destroy than we think. Also, given its location, it may not be as simple as blowing it up. Aside from the possible destruction of small towns, there's no telling how quick the Chimera would be able to move and where it would go. And this is assuming we're talking about a Chimera that doesn't have the wings of a dragon. If it did, well, that would make this task much tougher. But simply blowing it up wouldn't do us very good. We'd want to study the beast that seems to be a mix of three animals, and with three heads at that can breathe fire. I mean, there hasn't been anything like it. Could it be an ancient dinosaur that we've yet to discover? The finding of the Chimera would open so many questions worldwide. Simply killing it, however we could do that, would certainly not be ideal. Now, I usually end videos by saying have no fear, these things aren't real. Unfortunately, in this case, I can't. Although the Chimera I explained with 3 heads that breathes fire and has the front of a lion, midsection of a goat, and back end of a snake isn't necessarily real, it seems chimeras of sorts are. In scientific terms, a chimera is a single organism that is made up of cells from 2 or more individuals. It includes 2 sets of DNA that can make 2 separate organisms. This can be the case when fraternal twins are in the embryo and one dies early on in the pregnancy. Essentially what happens is the twin that's still living absorbs the other twin's cells, which gives it 2 sets of cells, its own and the twin that died early in pregnancy. The same technically happens when someone gets a bone marrow transplant. What happens here is someone will have their bone marrow destroyed and replaced with the bone marrow from another person. That bone marrow has stem cells that will develop into red blood cells that will now be a part of the person who underwent the transplant. Technically, this makes the person a chimera by medical terms. However, when speaking about the Greek mythological version of the chimera, we don't have much to worry about. Only those living in southwestern Turkey would most likely see the effects, and possibly some living on Greek islands. But it doesn't seem like it would destroy the world. Eventually, someone would be deemed a hero for killing the beast, and they would most definitely go down in the history books. But as previously mentioned, science wouldn't allow for the death of the beast. It'd be too interesting of an animal, or in this case, animals, to destroy. We'd want to know how it came to be in the first place, where it came from, and what its living habits are. How it has the ability to create fire within itself and not continue to burn throughout its body. I won't lie, I'd want those answers too. Who wouldn't? As always guys, I want to hear from you, so please do drop us some comments below. For now, let's reply to some previous comments from the video. What if the Megatherium didn't go extinct? Mike Cannon said, can't even say herbs right. Did I say herbs and it's herbs? You're really gonna call me out for that? I can't say herbs right or I can't say herbs right. Which one is it, bud? Call Me Nem said, Megatherium versus Gigantopithecus. What would Joe Rogan say? I think it'd be the most interesting thing in the world if Joe Rogan... God, like the Megatherium is a crazy animal. But you know the Gigantopithecus, that's a beast, man. I wonder if they did DMT, what it would be like. Mr. Newbie Boy said, what if spiders and humans switch sizes and only size? Well, that would be quite terrifying. If we were just little, like, small creatures and there's massive spiders, that'd be scary. We get stuck in their webs. They'd probably eat us, like, limb by limb. It would be the worst thing in the world. Imagine that. Imagine getting caught in, like, a spider web the size of, I don't even know what, the size of, like, a mansion. That'd be scary. And it's sticky and you can't move. God, that's petrifying. Anyways guys, that is it for this one. I've been your host, Jared Bronstein. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend. Make sure to subscribe and click that bell to never miss a video. Drop us some comments below with some questions you guys would like answered on this channel, and we'll see you in the next one.